Well, I've arrived. I'm at Lanserhof Lans in my absolutely beautiful suite. I will give you a full tour, but let me just tell you, it is stunning, absolutely stunning. And I'm sitting on my balcony right now, looking at the most breathtaking view of mountains. I've only been here for a couple of hours, and so far I can't take my eyes off the mountains. So I'm purposefully recording within hours of my arrival because I know that I will be a different person by the end of this week. I know there is no way I'm leaving Lanserhof the same way I arrived. So I just want to draw a line in the sand here. How am I actually feeling right now? How is my overall health and well-being? And then we can really look back and see what changed, what transformation did I undergo. Those of you who have watched any of my earlier videos will already be aware of my journey with chronic hives. But for anybody who hasn't seen that, just a very, very quick recap. I suffered from chronic hives, which is effectively an inflammatory condition caused by prolonged chronic stress. I had a few major high stress situations in my life in a very, very short space of time. Doctors in the UK obviously specialize in Western medicine, and in Western medicine, there is no official cure for hives. So this led me on a journey of coming down the Eastern holistic healing philosophies and practices, and has led to effectively where I am today at Lanserhof Lans. I am over the moon to say that what I did worked, even though the doctors told me good luck, but it's not going to work. And I've been completely and utterly free of hives now for 4 months. I mean, not one flare up, not even one hive. For a good 20 years, I suffered with such bad eczema on my hands that they would um, crack and bleed most of the time. And often I would have a bit of this going on. I would have to use steroid cream to be able to straighten my fingers. Well, it took me a while to realize because hives was so horrific. It took me a while to realize that what I was doing to cure my hives also cured my eczema. These hands used to bleed all the time. They were covered. I started creams when I was preteen, and I stopped them when I finished my wellness plan 3 months ago. So, how do I feel now? So something I've really noticed since healing hives, as much as I am in much, much, much better health, is I have a lot of joint pain, specifically my kneecaps. I have pain in my hip creases. I have been having regular acupuncture for my back, neck, and shoulders. That has been an absolutely incredible tool. I highly, highly recommend acupuncture. And in fact, I have a separate video showing my journey with acupuncture, which I will link here and put it in the description box down below. Also, energy levels. When I was suffering with chronic hives, I felt like my energy was never above about 20%. I'm much, much better now, but I do intuitively feel that I have lower energy than I should have. I get very sore and achy feet. I have to put my legs up and elevate my legs a lot for relief. So, intuitively, if I had to guess, knowing nothing about what's about to happen to me, I think we're going to be looking at fascia and or lymph. And my theory is, now this is just a theory, day one, I've been here for 2 hours. I am not the expert. I've come to the experts, but here's my theory. Let's just play a game and see if I'm anywhere near close with this. My theory is that chronic stress causes you to brace, and when you brace, your muscles are tightening up, restricting blood flow. The blood becomes stagnant. That causes all of the pain. That all needs unlocking. But the knock-on effect on fascia, it's a web and it can get really tight and cause all of this joint pain. So my hope for my trip at Lanserhof is that I can finally get back to the energy levels that I've only dreamt of, honestly, for the past few years. And that I could get rid of my joint pain, back pain, knee pain, these ailments that make me feel older than I am. So it's getting a bit windy on the balcony. I've decided that the perfect start to my trip, I'm tired, to be honest. I've brought some herbal tea back to the room. I'm going to have a bath with some salts and I'm going to listen to an audiobook and go to sleep. So it's the end of day 2 at Lanserhof, and I absolutely cannot wait to tell you all about it. To be honest, I can't believe I've only been here for 24 hours because the amount of change and transformation that's happened for me already is crazy, to be honest. So I started this morning with a walk in the forest, which was wonderful. I was outside by 7 a.m. with a group of lovely people. We walked up into the forest, we did some stretching, we took a moment to think of 3 things that we're grateful for, and then we did a very active power walk all the way back to the retreat, which took about 50 minutes, and we were back in time for breakfast. I then had my consultation with the doctor and the physician that's assigned to me for the duration of my trip. And that was a wonderful experience. I walked into that room and she already knew everything about me. Of course, I had to give all of my medical information, medical history, family medical history, nutritional therapy results, everything that I had for the entire of my life over before I got here. So to walk into a room and have somebody instantly understand everything about you, and health can be complex. Conditions can lead to other conditions, symptoms can lead to other symptoms, and she understood it all. Together, we mapped out what my itinerary is going to look like for the rest of the week, alongside the complementary activities that they offer here. So there's 4 or 5 a day. I've gone for things like yoga, yin yoga, sound healing, a lecture on the lymphatic system as a forgotten organ. There's a cooking workshop, how to make immune soups that are really good for your immune system. And my week just looks absolutely wonderful. I then went on to have a test of my liver, and that came back as really, really good. I don't have a fatty liver, I don't have any liver issues, and that's huge for me off the back of healing chronic hives. So that was very satisfying. My highlight of my day was for sure, without question, my incredible massage with Max. This was much more than a massage. Max is trained in a specific type of massage therapy technique to release fascia. So I had a suspicion that I had an issue with tight fascia before I came here, and Max confirmed it for me. What a revelation. I lay on the bed and he said to me, "Your shoulders aren't actually touching the bed." He said, it will feel like it is to you because you're lying down, but I can see that your shoulders at the top here are lifted off the bed, and that's fascia. He explained to me that it's actually across the front here. So all across my collarbone, all down my neck, all across the top. The fascia is so tight, it's pulling forward like this and creating all of this back, neck, and shoulder tension. So he used a technique to release the fascia across here. Honestly, this man was a magician. It was an incredible feeling. And the moment I stood up from the bed, I felt so much lighter. I felt like a different person. I said to Max, my biggest goal for this week is to relieve this tension, this tight fascia, this pain, these joint problems. And he said, "Oh, we'll do it this week." So that was incredible. And as I walked away from the therapy room, I was walking back to my room and honestly, tears were just rolling down my cheeks. My experience with this type of work is that when you actually release something physically out of your body, an emotional release always follows. And it's not always the case that you feel that emotion deeply. So How do I explain that? Often I don't know what the tears are releasing because the release was physical. The emotional release followed through tears, but without having to feel really emotional about a particular thing. What a gem this place is. What an absolute gem this place is. It's unlike any experience I've ever had, and I'm 24 hours in. I'm just so thrilled to be here, and I cannot wait to tell you what happens next. So, I'm just back to my suite after what was another absolutely incredible day at Lanserhof Lans. This is the end of my second full day, and it's absolutely unbelievable how much we can change when we take the time and we're in the right place, in the right environment with the right people. I thought yesterday was hugely transformational, and it was, but today was even more so. It was a busy day for me today. I was up early and straight down to the medical centre to get started on my treatments. I had some blood work done and some testing sent away. And from there, I had bioelectrical impedance analysis, which is analysis of the body fat, muscle, and water percentage. That was absolutely fantastic because my results were brilliant. And having been in such poor health with the chronic condition I had, my health has worried me, to be honest, and it's so reassuring to get such good test results. And the main feedback that I had was that I was in the green for all of the results, which is fantastic, and on the higher side of the green as well, which is really reassuring. But I also got some really good feedback, which is that over the next sort of 3 to 5 years for me, I will move into a time where my body will start to decrease in muscle mass. So the advice was to maintain my routines, but to add in some strength training, which I will absolutely take away with me. I chose to go for an IV and one that is specifically for joints and muscles. And to be honest, I did feel a very quick difference. And the way that I can explain it is that I've chosen to take the stairs here. I've not taken the lift once, but there's quite a lot of stairs. And day one and day two, when I got to the top of the stairs, every time my knees were really hurting. I really had to take it slow and kind of catch a breath at the top of the stairs. And after my IV, I jogged up 3 flights of stairs. And it was only once I was at the top in no pain whatsoever that I realized that I just jogged up 3 flights of stairs with no pain. So fingers crossed. I then had a natural detox birch and cedar wrap. So I was covered in this wonderful mixture that smelt amazing, and it works on the lymphatic system and helps to drain excess water. So I lay onto a bed, and once everything was applied, I was lowered into a waterbed, and that was a first for me. I've never experienced anything like it, but I imagine it's what a baby feels like in a womb. It was like floating. I was wrapped in this waterbed, covered in towels to keep warm. The lights were dimmed, and I don't think it was the environment, I think it was the treatment, but within 5 minutes, I just couldn't keep my eyes open. I felt so sleepy. It left this gorgeous silky residue on my skin for the rest of the day, which I was told to expect and was advised not to wash it off until later because it will do my skin a world of good. The highlight of my day, though, without question, was craniosacral therapy. I didn't know what to expect from this one. I was told that it's not a massage, but it does involve touch, but it's very light touch of the body. And I knew that it's considered a bit of a spiritual treatment as well, which was the first of that kind for me here at Lanserhof. So I was excited about it. My therapist was Max. So I saw Max yesterday for my therapeutic massage, and he is trained in different fascia techniques. Max started at my feet and worked up to my head. And it was very, very light touch. He explained to me that it's another fascia release technique, but it's a different fascia release technique, obviously, to the Berger method. It's the craniosacral method. So I lay on the bed, and the first thing that Max said to me was, "Look, your shoulders are now touching the bed." He held parts of my body, and it felt like he was barely doing much physically, but internally I felt so much. Mainly when he was working with my head. So he had my head in his hands and he was working around my head, but he would keep his hands in one place for quite a while. It was a 50-minute treatment. And I literally felt release through my body. I'm very in tune with my body these days. I think because I do yoga every day, I really know my body and I know what everything feels like. So there were many times throughout this treatment where I just felt little pops, little clicks, or my leg would just shift that way or my ankle would just shift that way. Even when Max was working on my upper body, Max said to me, it's the brain's response to the fascia release. I stood up from that treatment and felt like I was somewhere else. It was quite euphoric. I felt like I was floating, but not in a lightheaded or dizzy way. It was incredible. And I was laughing with the staff as I left because they could tell. And by the way, you can really see that with other guests around the retreat. You can see when somebody's just been through quite a profound treatment or experience because they sort of float and they're not quite fully there, but in the best way possible. So that was a hell of an experience, and I could cry. I really could cry at the difference in my neck and shoulders. All that pain. I'm just testing it out now. All that pain. I always felt like here, just all the way down here and all the way across here was so sore. And I was forever doing every yoga pose I know and every stretch I know to just try and get it to release. Do a lot of this one and it will often release up here a little, but it's been a hell of a lot of work for me. And then yet I see Max for 50 minutes and I float out of that room. And I said to Max at the end, I know you've trained for many years and, you know, I know you'll have worked really hard, but I also wonder if you are maybe a little bit magic because that was incredible. So I went straight from there to a breathwork session. Now, this was not just a breathwork session. This was long breath, long life, the Lans experience. This was Lanserhof teaching me how they do breath work, how they look at breath work. And it was a very much an active hour breath work session. We were bending down, we were reaching up high, we were working on the right side of the body and then the left side of the body. And one of the most interesting parts of that experience for me was after we worked the left side of the body, he said, now stand still, close your eyes and feel. Feel the left side of the body compared to the right side of the body and tell me if you can feel any difference. Tell me if you have more breath in the left side of your body. And as soon as he said that, I took an inhale and the left side of my body genuinely felt like I had a lot more space in there than the right side of my body. And he said, and your nostrils too. And I breathed in and my left nostril was just wider. It was unbelievable. And then, of course, we matched up the other side of the body. If I was floating after craniosacral therapy, I went straight into the breathwork session. So it was really floated my way to dinner. But it's the educational side as well. It was how he explained the power of the breath. And he made some really great points. You know, we live in our head a lot of the time unless we're consciously connecting the body, which we do through the breath. So I'm back at my room. I have a lovely herbal tea. I bring herbal teas to bed every night. There's plenty on tap. You just go and help yourself. There's a whole different range of teas, including sleep teas. I have my Epsom salts for the morning. And just before I go to bed, I want to really shout out Max because that was special. That was special. What he has done for me is an absolute gift. And I'm really grateful. So it's day 4 at Lanserhof, which is my 3rd full day. And I want to start tonight's video off by saying I feel absolutely amazing. Absolutely incredible. The first thing I noticed when I stood up this morning out of bed was my neck, back and shoulders. Again, I stood up and I thought, Not that this was a new feeling, it was more that I remember this feeling. So I remember having a neck, back, and shoulders that felt like this, but years ago. And it's quite emotional, to be honest, because it's a massive difference from when I arrived. So I'm so, 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 so grateful. And I'm just feeling incredible. Really, really incredible. So let me talk you through my day. First thing this morning, I had lymphatic drainage with aloe vera and cupping. That was really nice, a really lovely start to the day. The highlight of my day was my follow up meeting with my doctor. She was genuinely quite excited when she was going through my blood results. She said to me, Amy, I have never had a patient at Lanserhof before with blood results this good. She said, these are excellent. They're actually near perfect. That was incredible news for me because when I had chronic hives, I had comprehensive blood work done, and there were many things that I needed to work on. The most significant one was my levels of inflammation, which were through the roof. But it wasn't the only thing. There were many different things that I needed to work on. And she said to me that she's not had someone sit in front of her in this retreat before with absolutely nothing that needs working on in the blood results. So I'm genuinely over the moon about that. I had some free time today, so I went for a swim, which was beautiful. The swimming pool is part indoor and part outdoor, with a mountain and forest backdrop and beautiful flowers all around the pool, so it smells divine. I probably did about 30 lengths, had a really, really nice time in the pool. I also went to a cooking workshop, which was fascinating. We met with one of the chefs in the restaurant, and over the course of an hour, he made 5 different dishes. Three were blended soups, and two were soups with fish and vegetables inside. The simplicity of how he cooked was beautiful to watch, to be honest. I learned so much from him. Some of the most interesting things to me was on the diet program that we're on here. Instead of using an onion base, they use a celeriac and fennel and occasionally leek. The food that he made was so clean, so kind to the digestive system. It smelt divine, and I can vouch for it because I've been eating in the restaurant every day since I've been here. The food is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I've not talked about that actually, but there are various different diet plans here. It depends on what your doctor recommends. There is a detox here, I think it's level 0, where you are just on broth and tea for 2 days or 3 days. I wasn't put on that program, it wasn't necessary for me, but I was put on a gut friendly diet, which there's a lot involved in that. So it's lots of soups. You have bitter drops before the meal. There are supplements to take. You have shots of various different oils and things that they want you to take for your digestive system. But I have been so, so happy with the food, and genuinely, I have not been hungry once. So, considering there is no opportunity to eat outside of the program, you go for breakfast between 7 and 9, lunch is served between 12 and 1, and dinner is served between 6 and 7. And outside of the plan that you're on, and outside of those meal times, there is nothing else to eat apart from a vegetable broth, which is served between 10 and 12 every day. But genuinely, not once have I felt hungry. Not once have I craved anything. Not once have I wanted to snack. And I did have a bit of bloating when I arrived, and that's gone right down. And I know that's partly diet, and it's also the treatments that I've been having, all the lymphatic drainage treatments specifically. But I just feel, honestly, $1 million. I really do feel fantastic. So I'm very much looking forward to my next 3 days. I have so much in store on these next 3 days. I cannot believe the day by day transformation. So it's crazy to think what on earth will happen next. How can this get any better? If I was to get on a plane and go home now, I would be mind blown by the transformation I've had here and telling everybody and anybody who would listen about it. And I am Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I'm exactly halfway through my experience. So that's incredible, really incredible. So yeah, I'm going to go and possibly have a walk. I might have a late night swim or sauna. The facilities here are open until 9:30, so you absolutely have the option. And if not, maybe a nice salt bath and a read. Either way, good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. It's been another wonderful day. I started the day with a treatment at 7:30 a.m. It was a detox algae treatment followed by a liver wrap. And when I had the liver wrap on, I was sat in a little booth, a little bed, with a liver tea, a liver pack on, just with this panoramic view straight in front of me of the mountains. I also had reflexology today, which was really lovely, and a detox foot treatment. But the highlight of my day today was really just feeling the bonds that I've made here. Today was a big realization that after 4 full days with these wonderful people, I've made some incredible friendships here. And the types of conversations that we are having, deep conversations, it's just wonderful. There's a lady here who's been suffering from an illness that has made her have extreme fatigue for 18 months. So she's felt trapped in her own body with that level of exhaustion for 18 months. Tonight, she came and sat at my table and cried. She feels she's got another shot at life. She is just talking so excitedly. She's full of passion because she feels like she's got energy for the first time in more than 18 months. So that was incredible. Really, this feels like a second family to me here. I love these people. And from the bottom of my heart, when I go home, I'm going to miss them very, very much. In terms of energy levels, I feel amazing. I feel amazing, really. I feel like a younger version of me, maybe me in my 20s. I recognize this body, I recognize this feeling. Yoga today was really, really amazing. I learned a lot because I practice yoga every day, but I hadn't really done yoga like this before, where there's a lot of emphasis put on stretching the ligaments before you go into a deep stretch. And I wonder whether that may be why I've had some joint pain in my knees. So that definitely taught me something. And when we were in Shavasana at the end, it was the doors were open in the room, the cool mountain air was coming in. All we could hear was birds cheeping. And I absolutely went somewhere else. I went really, really deep. So that was a hell of a yoga experience. It's later than I intended because I've been so busy talking to all of my wonderful friends and all the wonderful staff here. So I think I'm going to treat myself to a nice bath and get my head down for the night. So today has been absolutely incredible. It's only about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I started this morning with quantum therapy, which was really going into my subconscious mind and clearing out some stuff I didn't realize I was still carrying, to be honest. It was profound. It was very emotional, and it was very freeing. I felt quite liberated afterwards. I think we carry a lot of baggage that doesn't belong to us, and that's why therapy is so important, because it really does an incredible job at clearing that out. And then I went on to have an energetic therapy with Stefan. That was really quite something as well. Stefan said that I was carrying still quite a lot of tension in my neck. It's difficult to put into words how these therapies feel. You know, often when we meet at lunch or dinner, some of us feel really grounded, you know, when we've been for a walk or a swim, or we've done some kind of more active therapies. And then those of us that have been for more mindset work, more emotional work, more spiritual work, feel very floaty. And the floatiness stays with you, it really does. But I'm having huge kind of aha moments, huge breakthroughs, huge shifts. It's worth its weight in gold. It really is worth its weight in gold, this place. In my opinion, there shouldn't be a single day at Lanserhof Lans where they're not at maximum capacity. Maximum capacity is 80 guests, so it's a beautiful size anyway. It will never feel too busy or full, but there should be a waiting list
to book a stay at this place. They really, really should. This is actually the first time I've got outside in 4 days. I wanted to come outside, but I've had a really busy itinerary, and that's by choice. So you can really tailor make your experience here. You book a program, plan a program, but then it really depends when you get here and you sit down with the doctor, and once your therapy starts as well, because sometimes you'll start therapy and then your need will shift slightly. So I would say it's really good to be flexible. They're flexible with you, so it's really good to be flexible with them as well, and just take each day as it comes, and plan around the type of experience you really, really want to have. They advise a digital detox at Lanserhof Lans, and it's perfect. In my opinion, everybody should adhere to the digital detox because it's part of the therapy, just coming home to yourself and switching off and feeling the freedom. You know, think about how many thousands and thousands of years people lived like this without phones. And I know, here I am filming on a GoPro. The irony is not lost on me, but this was the point I wanted to make. The reason why my entire video has been filmed in my suite at night is because, number one, I'm very respectful of the etiquette here, but also I'm having a full experience. Hence, I've come out on so today is Thursday. I arrived on Saturday evening, so I went for a forest walk on Sunday morning, but apart from that, I have not left the building. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, a good 4 days, 4.5 days since I've stepped outside. But you know what? What a welcome bubble it was. Too bright. What a welcome bubble it was. Honestly, I want to go back in. No, I don't. I'm only kidding. I feel amazing. I feel absolutely amazing. I feel young. Like, I know I'm youngish, but I feel really young. Like, really young, playful, and woo, tons of energy, and like, let me at life. Not just yet though, give me a few more days here, but then let me at life. I'm ready.
So it's my last night at Lanserhof, and to be honest, I'm really, really emotional. And it's for a few reasons. The therapies I've had have been life-changing. I'm so lucky to be walking away from Lanserhof with, in the doctor's words, perfect health results, excellent blood work, near perfect. And I've had that across the board. And I'm not saying that in any way to show off, because if you've watched any of my earlier videos, you know how bad my health was. My inflammation was through the roof. My skin was horrific. My energy levels were shot. My brain was just full of anxiety and worry because I was in such bad health and I had such a lot on my plate. So it's no small thing. And it's the friends I made as well. Last night we went to the top of a mountain to watch the sunset together, and now everybody's flying back home. Not only that, I've seen people go through mega, mega transformation. I'm just so grateful that there are places like this. In fact, no, I'm not so grateful there are places like this. I'm so grateful I found Lanserhof. So sorry this isn't a bit more of a cheery one. But this hasn't been a holiday. This has been a transformational, life-changing journey. I'm gonna have a bath and just chill. I think I've moved through so much this week that like my body and my brain are catching up with the level of transformation I've been through. Kind of feel like I'm gonna pop out the other side. Do you know what I mean? Breakdown before breakthrough. God knows. God knows how I'm going to pop out the other side, because anybody that knows me personally will tell you that I'm a talker. If I pop out the other side the way I think I might, God help. God help everyone.
Well, if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate every single viewer. I've been home for 2 weeks now, and it's really clear how much has actually changed since the trip. I have no more joint pain at all, no problem with my knees. My energy levels are so much better, and my neck, back and shoulders are hugely improved from where they were. Health is wealth, and prevention is so much better than cure. So many guests at Lanserhof go once a year, some even go twice a year, and in my opinion, it's exactly the right way to approach it. I have a luxury travel business. I've spent my whole career in luxury travel, and this type of travel is my absolute passion. If you would love to book your own trip to Lanserhof, I would love to help you on your own transformative journey. All of the information and how to get in touch with me is in the description box below. Please do take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.